Welcome to Let's Talk Jets Radio.
Mr. Primetime.
We back.
There's not, I mean, I can't believe we're here right now, to be honest with you.
I can. I'm still surprised that we're here, but it's not surprising. This is the New York Jets we're talking about, so.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's a part of you, the cynical, same old Jets fan that I thought was dead probably around the bye week. And then week by week, this team beat me over the head and had to remind me that they're the New York Jets, led by their fearless head coach, Robert Sala, their fearless, powerful general manager, Joe Douglas, and their wonderful elite-level owner, Woody Johnson. Had to be reminded, dude.
Good times, right? 6-3 to 7-4 to complete collapse.
Epic meltdown.
How many coaches bounce back from a collapse like that? You don't see many.
We're going to discuss all of this because this is the joy of having this channel after a complete debacle, after just an endless day of rage and anger, a night just being pissed off and watching other teams make the playoffs. And now we're 12 years out the playoffs. And lucky us. Here's the lucky part of being about a Jet fan. We now enter the offseason with more questions than answers.
What more could you ask for? It's great. It's great for content, right? It's great for content.
We got Sauce Gardner, though. That's great.
Yeah, we have Sauce.
Got Garrett Wilson. That's great. The most important position.
You just got to give it time, Tyson. You got to give it time. That's all they need.
Give it time.
Time and patience. Trust the process.
We're just not patient enough. We'll bring on. I'm gonna go off the fucking rails tonight. This could be my last stream, I think, because it may be my last one. It could very well be my last stream. I'm done. I've absolutely had it. What's up, Third Amigo?
What's going on, fellas? I'm probably gonna get kicked off the show tonight. If y'all going back to the old rules, I'm gonna.
Right, so I'll be the rational one tonight. Then. I'll let you guys
it's no rationality. It's no talking about this shit. It's no none of that. I truly feel what Tyson is at. My whole day was ruined. My Sunday was ruined. My first day of the new year was ruined. And Primetime, you made a key statement: 6-3 and 7-4. All we asked for meaningful games in December. We got meaningful games in December, and they didn't show the fuck up. Like this debacle of what we just watched, of having games you have to win, a playoff mentality, and to come off flat. And if you watch Cochran's interview, he said the same exact thing.
Yep.
They came out flat. And how do you, in a moment this big, to a team that's done this well, give us the same thing? And we call for 7 wins. We got our 7 fucking wins. And this is not the way I plan on getting it. And this is absolutely, I haven't.
This is the opposite. This is the opposite of how we expected to have it, right? Like we expected the slow start early in the year. Zach Wilson was hurt, tougher schedule. They'd be playing better in the second half. Zach Wilson making progress. This is the opposite of what we expected.
It's not how you
start.
It's not how you start. It's how you finish, man.
Yep. I want to say this real quick, and I'll let y'all just go ahead and vent. But I want to say this right here, and this is what gets me more than anything. And I got back because I was all frustrated and depressed all day long. And I'm gonna tell you this. You know what I felt like? 2015, that Buffalo game. I feel worse than that right now. Yep. All this shit, all this season, all this being pumped up, being happy, and they pulled the fucking rugs underneath me and just let me fall on my ass, bro. This is some bullshit. Bottom line.
But you don't see the growth that's taking place behind closed
doors.
Well, what we'll do is we'll just go to make it easier and kind of organized. We'll go from top to bottom because there's a lot to discuss, a lot of anger, a lot of shit. But before we do all that, we got to discuss something pretty cool, man.
Really cool.
We finally reached 10,000 subscribers, man. Pretty freaking crazy. So the really cool part about this, other than 10,000 subscribers, is we have an awesome community that helps us get through all this. But I think more importantly is this community rallies and creates and gives back a lot of money to the community, man. Like 10,000 subscribers is awesome. I really appreciate it. But I'm a lot more proud of all the money we raised for like the Mark V. Lee toy drive, giving back to the food banks, giving back to the Defensive Line Foundation. And that's something that I hope you guys are all proud of, because that's probably means more than anything, man, that everybody knows, like, You know, the one guy was trying to come at me today, like, oh, the trust in the process shit. Yeah, dude, you know what that trust in the process shirt did? It raised $1,000 for a toy drive. What have you done? You know what I mean? Like, that's the really cool. So we appreciate the support, but also we appreciate all the generosity from everybody too, man. It's been overwhelming, to be honest.
Yeah, that's what's so cool about doing this. The community, just the outpouring of support, all the interactions that we get, like that's what makes it all worth it for us. And I still remember like when I reached out to you back in, what was it, like 2015 when we first started this, like for me, it was just all about like having a voice and just being able to vent, you know, having an escape outlet. And I can't even think of like where my fucking life would be right now or like what I'd be doing if I didn't have this show 3 nights a week to be doing for the last 8 years. So really appreciate all the support, guys.
And I just want to say this right here, like, you know, everybody knows my story. I was Tyrone from Virginia, just calling in, and you know, I just got a chance to be on a show with 2 great guys and talk about Jets, something I love doing. But it's way bigger than that, you know. And I want to say this, and my hat goes off to you guys because y'all really have no clue how much Tyson and Primetime really put into this behind the scenes. It's a lot to go on, you know. A lot of people think also Jay as well, but you know, the thing about getting 10,000 subscribers on this channel right here, you guys did it your way. You could have did it the other way and kiss ass and be all fake and phony. You give a platform and you give it to everybody. You don't discriminate. You don't give a shit what team you love. At the end of the day, you let everybody have a voice, man. And that shit right there means volumes, man.
Thank you, Balls.
I just want to
Balls,
say, man,
you're crazy, man. Balls, you're a big part of this too. And like the one thing too is like, the really cool thing is it's like a big family, man. Like we had our tailgate down in Charlotte last year. We're like, we don't know who's going to show up. Not only we sold it out, but it was cool hanging out with everybody and running people in the stadium and even primetime. Like we had like we made up at the training camp. We meet up at the tailgates in the parking lot, the game, and to get a chance to meet everybody, it's like you become friends with everybody. That's the cool thing about all this. And Balls, we met you down in Charlotte, man. It's
absolutely,
like,
yes, sir.
Dude, but it's cool meeting everybody.
Yeah, Sam Darnold poster. Still remember that.
Yeah, absolutely, yes, sir.
It's a lot of fun,
and honestly, I mean, it never gets old. Like being at games, at tailgates, whatever, and like seeing somebody that recognizes you and just coming up to you and saying what's up, and that they watch your content, like it's fucking amazing. And you know, we love that we get to share this platform with you guys. It's not just us talking. Like you guys get a voice in this too. We're not trying to, you know, just like steal all the spotlight and shit like that. Like we share this platform with you guys get a say. And I think that's what's made it such a tight-knit community. So shout out to all you guys. It's awesome.
And it's a real Jet channel. It's not about, you know what I'm saying, just
it's authentic.
Absolutely. Going with the program and just saying, you know, saying the right thing. You get a chance to come on here, man. You get to voice your opinion, you get to say how you feel. And at the end of the day, man, every real Jet fan feels this way at some point because this team always seems to do it to us, man. But I love you guys. I love all the subscribers, man. Thank you. I appreciate it. All the good stuff.
And we welcome Muppets too. We welcome Muppets.
Yo. What up, Elmo? Let me give it up to Elmo first, baby.
So again, thank you to everybody. You know, I'll make a video after this to talk about it more. But and the other thing too is congrats to Jose, man. Too. We talked a lot of shit to Jose. I talked endless shit on his. I went on his channel. I talked all kinds of shit. And congrats to Jose. You know. So let's start at the beginning of this.
Nah,
because this is going to be this show's going to be a disaster because
where do you want to start?
Well, we'll start with this. Going into the game, we'll start being the expectations for this team on 10 days rest is you come out fast, you come out physical, you come out furious. You're going to see energy, you're going to see passion, you're going to see preparation. You're going to see all this stuff, right? 3 plays into the game, you're down 7-0, and at that point, we all knew we're fucked. Mm-hmm. We knew it then that this team did not come to play, and they were lifeless. And that starts with the goddamn head coach. And I don't want to hear excuses. I don't want to hear about we need this, we need this. No, you had 10 days, dude. The playoffs are on the line, and this team was lifeless the entire game. Furthermore, they were lifeless against Jacksonville. That's 2 weeks in a row. Playoffs on the line, season on the line, lifeless. Robert Sala is supposed to be a leader of men. Players love to play for him. They want to fight for him. They want to do this. They give their anything. That whole 60% rule he had on his fucking T-shirt, right? Where'd that T-shirt go? Where'd all his catchphrases go? All gas, no break. Where's all that shit at? And what did you do? You fell flat on your fucking face. Embarrassing, dude. There's no way to justify this. It's inexcusable. And any other head coach that loses 5 games in a row like this, embarrassing themselves, when he could lose another one next week, will be fired. That's it. This is Todd bullshit. If this coach was named Adam Gase, what would we be doing? We want him fired immediately. If this coach was named Todd Bowles, what would we say? He should be fired. Prime time. We'll start with you first, dude. This stuff is inexcusable. This is a second-year coach that the team quit on him. They're not reacting to him now. They've been lifeless for 5. They've been lifeless since the bye for the most part.
It almost feels like he's tried so hard to almost be their friend when shit's hit the fan. You know, like he's not their coach. He's not, he's not somebody that's getting in their face. He's not actually coaching them on the sidelines. You watch Dable and some of the interactions that he's had this year with Daniel Jones and some of the other players on that roster. Remember, that's not his roster. That's not his quarterback. And look at the job that he did in year 1. That's the head coach. Sala right now, he tries to be an overseer, and he gives his defensive coordinator and his offensive coordinator a lot of freedom to do whatever they want. But you're the head coach. It all falls on you. So if there's something you don't like, whether it's practice, game prep, play calling, in game, you have to step up and make a change. And to this point, the last 5 weeks, what has he done? Especially in game or even game prep. They've started slow every week. They look flat almost every week.
Yep.
And in game, like they're not making these adjustments. Like the defense has given up long drives, and like the offense, they can't do anything in the red zone. It's both sides of the ball, and that all falls on the head coach.
Yeah, I mean, we're just starting with that, Tyrone. The expectation of the effort, the passion, the pride, what you expected out of his team, and what you got from the first play of the game, 60-yard run. Then they get a stop, boom, touchdown, 7-0. You're like, wait a minute. This was reminiscent to when Quinn Williams forced a turnover, the Jets kicked the field goal. We're like, we know what this is going to be. Suck the life out of the team. The life was sucked out of his team, 2 minutes into the game?
You watch. I knew how this was going from as you said, Tyson, the first touchdown. I already saw how it was going. It was no energy. And prime time, you touched on something that I've been saying and I've been trying to put out there. The problem is, man, like our defense is good. But what happens is people are starting to figure out our defense. You're not making fucking adjustments during the game. None. Halftime, you make adjustments. It was not working.
I'm not even talking about I'm not talking about defense, dude. I'm focusing directly on the coach because this is on him throughout the entire game.
That's what I'm going to. As a head coach, when things are not working, you're a defensive guy, you make in-game adjustments. That's been the problem. That has not been done all season long. These guys came out flat. I'm not going to say they quit on him. He does not motivate these men to the message that he's saying they do. Listen, the last 3 weeks were must-win games. In 2 of those games, we came out flat as shit. They came out with no energy, no effort, no understanding, no adjustment. And your head coach looks lifeless on the sidelines. He doesn't do anything to motivate men. You know what I'm saying? Like he does it. He'll argue with a ref. Yo, go talk to your team. Tell them step up. After that first drive, I said, okay, maybe they'll make an adjustment. It was countless problems like that. That's the issue, man. He doesn't. I don't know what he's doing, but that shit is not working to lose 5 games in a row. It's despicable, man. Despicable.
I'm telling you, dude, it's inexcusable. And I know people are saying, oh, do you want to start a whole rebuild all over again? You want to start all this? The whole goal, primetime, we've said this yesterday. We've said it all season long. We had 2 questions coming into the season. Do we have the right head coach? Do we have the right quarterback? Zach is not the right quarterback, and we honestly don't know about this head coach because there's a lot of bad things happening here. And the people want to tell me, well, there's some good things. You know what the good things are? They're individual performances. You got Sauce Gardner, you got Garrett Wilson, you got DJ Reed, you got Quinn Williams. That's great. But I like somebody to tell me, just tell me what has gotten better from the beginning season to the end of the season. What do you hang when you see Coach Sala? What are you hanging your hat on saying, you know what? I know Coach Sala can do this. He's a defensive-minded guy. The defense got worse. Relatively healthy, right? Where are all the injuries on defense? It's not defense is there. I mean, they couldn't get stops. They can't get turnovers. They gave up the game early on. The offense is arguably getting worse. Now you want to say AVT and Breece Hall's being out, it's fine, but they're getting worse. Nothing improved throughout the season. And then the one thing is they were 7-4. Opportunities staring them in the face. They started getting a little smug. They started getting a little overconfident, and there they go. And he couldn't stop the bleeding. He still can't stop the bleeding. And he's talking about it. Primetime, you said it perfectly. The press conference before the Seattle game really pissed me off. It wasn't a fire and brimstone speech. It wasn't like we have a chance to win the playoffs. We got to
get off the mat.
Like, I'm not a sense of urgency where you're like, you know what, we got to get this shit going. You know what, man? Like, we just got to get off the mat right now. It was almost like he was defeated. Like he was like in the doldrums. Like, man, you know what, man? We have to mat. Like, like when you're a fighter that's in the 15th round and you've lost 14 rounds, you're like, man, I just got to try to get through it. It was like Sal was getting through it. He should have been like chomping at the bit, like we are going to redeem ourselves.
But that's where you're supposed to have your coach get in your face and say, "Hey, this is the last round. You leave it all out there."
Yes,
like Leon Edwards. I mean, 5th round, like that speech. Like that's what Sala needed to do. That's what he needed to do.
When you're sitting here, and you get a gift from Green Bay, then you understand how important this is because you fumbled the ball already. This opportunity that was given to you was just fell in your lap. Your players are talking about, oh, well, it's the football gods, it's whatever, and then you show up and you perform to that inability to perform. That shit was pathetic. This matter of fact, I'm not going to say Sala's not the guy. I'm not saying that. But whatever he needs to fix needs to get fixed immediately. Not trying to be
what's he gonna fix though? Did you hear him talk today about like being loyal to his coordinators and like he said he was in the same shoes in San Francisco with Shanahan in year 2 as defensive coordinator. He could have been the scapegoat. So you could already see where this is going. He's not firing Ulbrich. He's not firing LaFleur. He's not going to use them as a scapegoat.
But at some point, being a head coach, man, you have to be. He said he's the overseer. That's fine. Then oversee what the fuck is going on during the game. If you're watching this and you're not making any kind of adjustments at all, I mean, you're not trying to fix anything. You're letting the same problems continue to happen. Seattle is the worst run defense in the league. You're not telling your offensive coordinator to make changes.
Yeah, but Tyron, to me, it goes deeper than this. And this is a really good point too. And this is something we talked about in a while. It says Sala can be summed up as a head coach on one play, not holding Quincy Williams accountable when he hit Jalen Hurts late, getting cursed out by the Eagles coaching staff and standing like a statue. Sala doesn't like to. He rarely holds
like confrontation.
But the thing is this, Tyrone. Now the offense we'll get to. The defense. Now going into the game, like, dude, I'm a dumb fan. I know the blueprint to the game going in. You know how Seattle was going to attack us. Yep. They're going to attack the linebackers and safeties, and Gino's going to run the ball, and they're going to do things like that. It was obvious.
We said it on Friday night.
We talked about it.
Yeah.
We literally talked about it, right?
Yep.
So when this is happening, as this game is playing out, and you see it, Sala, while he's the CEO of the team, you go over to Ulbrich and be like, we got to change this. We got to change this. We got to blitz more, play Bryce Huff more, which is completely criminal at this point. But you take, everybody wants to fire Ulbrich, which is fine. I don't care. But this is Sala's defense. This is his scheme. This is his mindset. This is his philosophy.
It's like the Todd Bowles, Casey Rogers thing. Like, what does Casey Rogers do? What does Jeff Ulbrich do? Same shit.
This is because when they talk about Sala with his schemes, he's like, we only rush 4 for this. But these are his principles. These are his philosophies, and his coach is carrying them out and following what he's told to do. So you're going to find scapegoats, but this coach can't take a pass for the defense. He can't. No. And it's not like you're playing the Buffalo Bills every week. This is you lost to the Jaguars, and I'm tired of hearing excuses because the defense doesn't have all the injuries the offense does. So it's just and the start of the game was 7-0 right off the bat. They weren't tackling. They looked tired. They looked uninspired. They looked flat. That's on the coach. There's no way to sugarcoat that. It's impossible.
No. Completely right.
Right? I mean, what?
No.
Go ahead, Tom.
No, I got nothing else to say. I mean, team was completely flat, like you said. They didn't show up for the biggest game of the year when they were given a second, a third chance at life. Right? We were talking during the Lion game. They got to win 4 in a row.
Yep.
Then it's Jacksonville. All right, you got to win 3 in a row now. No way you could lose the AFC game.
Can
they lose that, and they still had a chance to control.
Can I say one more thing though?
They still blew it.
You know what I hate about Sala, and I know I'm coming off negative as fuck tonight. I genuinely don't care anymore.
Let it all out.
What I hate is I hate when he justifies losing. Well, you got to understand, man. We played a Lion team that was getting really hot. We played a very good Viking team. We played a very good Buffalo Bills team. So what are you telling me, Coach? You can only beat bad teams. You're only going to show up against a bad team, but when you play a good team, it's okay to lose to them. How do you have higher fucking standards? How do you try that goddamn idea?
It legitimately sounds like he's trying to not only convince himself of all this stuff, not only convince himself, but to convince ownership and Joe Douglas that he's actually doing a good job and his team is progressing when they're not.
What is that standard though? Like, you got to understand, Jaguars are getting high at the right time, and that's a tough team. Everybody's a tough team.
That's your job, though. That's your job.
Why aren't the Jets hot?
Job. Exactly. Why aren't the Jets? Listen, listen. My problem with this is I don't think Ulbrich's the problem, and I think he didn't make adjustments. But that goes to the coach not telling him what to do. He's running your defense, okay? So I've been saying this problem all season long. We've been having this conversation about you're not getting there with 4. Well, listen, the game in Detroit was lost because you wasn't getting there with 4. If you're not getting there with 4, listen, you know that he panics when he gets pressure, and you send no pressure. Makes no sense. With Geno, it's the same opportunity. But what I'm saying to you guys is this. The problem was the intensity. There was none. There was none. You watch all these pregame speeches and hear these guys talk about what they're going to do and fire up. When they sit on the field, man, they shut the fuck down. They were not into it.
But see, the
and
thing
that
is,
goes
but the
to
question,
coach.
but the question is, you start to wonder, do they actually have faith in this coaching staff? Do they even believe in him? Do they buy into this whole program now? Because based on 5 losses in a row, I don't think so. They like him. Nice guy. Cool, buys him cool T-shirts.
That's exactly, I think, how we all feel. He's
And
a
the
good
thing
dude,
is,
a guy that you'd love having a beer with, but do I want him as my X's and O's head coach to lead me to a championship?
is he respected?
Right now, I don't know.
They may be too comfortable. He may be too much of a place control. They're just too comfortable. Like, nice guy, but he's not going to do this. He's not going to do that. And it's just, he just justifies losing too much. He has an excuse for everything. Like, at one point, I'd like for him to say, you know what? This is unacceptable. This is all unacceptable.
It's too early in the process for him to say that. He's not going to.
Losing 5 in a row?
He keeps preaching time and patience. That this is all going to take time. These are young players. They're still growing behind close. I mean, he was going on about that today.
Do you ever see that every player coach be the same way? Like, you're too cool with your players instead of holding them accountable? Because to me, there is no way that my team's going to come out and I'm supposed to be the number 5th defense in the league and just allow them just to run down the field like we're not even there.
They've got individual, like Tyson was saying, they've got individual guys on defense with killer instincts and a head coach that's just passive as shit with this defense.
Yep, absolutely.
It's not going to mesh. At some point, it's going to come to a head, I think.
Absolutely.
So we'll start with Sala, and I think obviously I don't think Woody Johnson has the balls to fire him, to be honest with you, because the Jets are going to preach stability. You got to trust the process and one more year. And the way Sala talked today, he talked like he had assurances, like like he felt way too comfortable giving us bullshit like a used car salesman. So you just know he's coming back. And then the way he defended Mike LaFleur was embarrassing too. Like, bro, you're speaking.
Well, that's why I was saying none of the coordinators are getting fired. He's not firing Oldberg.
And that I'll be off the rails with that too.
Yeah.
So we'll go to the offense, and now you get Mike White back, which we all agree was a positive. But you're worried about what is his health? Is he able to throw the football? Can he do a lot of good things? Thank you, man. We appreciate that. But you're like, you like, what do you expect from Mike White? Can he throw the ball? Can he do things? But Tyrone, you touched on it. To me, honestly, I'm like, this is where the offensive line has got to step up and run the friggin' football. Establish your physical domination of the line. Flex your muscle a little bit. Herbig is out. Okay, you bring in LDT, who we all respected. But this is man up time, dude. This is no excuse time. Like, you've got to be physical. You got to get a lot of good things here, and you didn't get it. They just the offensive line disappointing.
Early on, that first drive, they were running the football. I don't know if the Seahawks just made adjustments after that, or if the Jets just got away from it too much and they were throwing the ball too much. I mean, Mike White had, 50 or 45 or 44 passes, something like that. So yeah, I mean, it seemed like early on, if they stuck with the ground game, it could have worked. They had holes. Ty Johnson was hitting them. Donovan Knight had a big run too.
But to me, it seems like they knew what we were doing. Like, I mean, to our running plays, I mean, we got a couple of opens. Ty Johnson had a big run. I mean, we had a few runs, but it seems like every time we try to run the ball, like, he runs the ball on first down every single fucking time. Like, once we get a first down, they're bringing 8 to the line.
The
like,
scripted plays never work.
Exactly, they never work. And the problem is he doesn't check out of them. And you know what I'm saying? I'm always thinking when he hits his helmet, I'm thinking he's going to another play. That's not working. And listen, our offensive line just got manhandled. They were the more physical team. And my problem is they are the worst team against the run. They gave up 200 yards to the Raiders.
Lions gave up 300 yards to the Panthers. We can run on them.
This is crazy.
But the thing is, even just to look at Mike White, he didn't play well. Like, and you want to say, was he hurt? What is this? Whatever it is, it didn't work, and he didn't play well. So I assume he's playing this Sunday, which is cool, whatever. But
I've got one grievance though, like with the whole Mike White thing. I mean, if we're gonna be honest, he's had one bad game, right? If Berrios makes a catch at Minnesota, Jets beat the Vikings. If Berrios makes another catch in the red zone and Michael Carter doesn't fumble at Buffalo, there's a good chance the Jets are in position to win that game on the road at Buffalo and still possibly either be in the playoffs or maybe even competing for the division still. So 2 years, last year, 3 starts, 1 bad game. This year, 4 starts, 1 bad game. And listen, yesterday might have been exactly what Mike White is. It's very possible. But the fact that we've completely now written him off, he's not part of our future anymore, off of that one game with busted ribs, when Zach Wilson does the opposite, he has 1 decent game followed by 3 bad games, and it's just a never-ending cycle of opportunities for him.
No, I mean,
that's why I love you, Primetime, because you stick with reality. I've heard so many people just want to bash Mike White for one bad game. The whole factor does not factor in how bad the line played. You know, that's a big thing.
And
when
he
you're
played like
quarterback
shit
with
though. I
bad
mean,
ribs.
especially in the second half, he played
Hold on,
like shit.
hold on,
I'm not
hold on.
defending him.
He
on.
didn't play well. He didn't play well.
First half, I thought he played okay.
I'm not saying no. He didn't play well
Second
at all.
half, he played like shit.
He was sailing balls all day, but he wasn't comfy. You could tell he was hurt and he wasn't right. As a head coach, I thought maybe you might want to bring Streveler in, just switch up the speed of the game, bring Flacco in. It wasn't there yesterday, bro. Listen, he was not there. Every pass he threw.
So then, Tyrone. So that's my point. My point is this: Mike White, like the next year thing with Mike White. I don't even give a fuck about that right now. I'm talking about this game. What happened? Mike White did not play well. There's 2 back-to-back drives where he was completely off, missing every throw he was throwing. He looked just either he's hurt, uncomfortable, whatever it was.
Still not
season on the line, you take him out of the game. Like that's it. That is what a coach with balls does. Because you're not living for another day here, dude. There is no other day. You have 2 quarters of football to save your season, and that's when you take him out. Be a coach. Be a leader.
I disagree with that. Two quarters on the line to save your season. I'm trusting Mike White and not Joe Flacco. I'm trusting Mike White with that, not Joe Flacco. I'm not putting my season on the line with Flacco.
So prime time. You're pitching to go to playoffs, right? And your quarterback lost his fastball. Do you keep him in the game and watch him get lit up, or do you bring in a reliever?
Bring in a reliever.
There you go.
Yes.
Joe Flacco's your reliever. You take Mike White out of the fucking
game.
game.
Listen,
No,
he did not. He did not have it. He didn't have it yesterday. And I saw that in the first half. He just was not there. And I don't know if it was the ribs or the flag jack. I don't know what the problem was, but he did not have it. And I would have made an adjustment probably in the third quarter, giving them that 1 or 2 drives.
I'm not saying you guys are wrong. I'm just saying I would have wrote it out with Mike White.
Well, you know, and the further point is to answer people in the chat. If you don't feel comfortable bringing Flacco in, that's an indictment on your head coach and your GM because he shouldn't be on your goddamn team, which we knew already. That's the other problem with your roster development. You had a quarterback that wasn't pushing Zach Wilson. You had a quarterback that wasn't good. He proved to you wasn't good, and that was your guy for the rest of the year. When your season's on the line, other teams bring guys in, right?
And they didn't even learn from last year.
Nope.
They didn't have a backup last year. They had to trade for Flacco. So they didn't even learn from that. They did the same shit again this year.
And that was the problem, and that's the whole issue.
You're older, Flacco.
If you don't trust Flacco, then you should have him on the team. But I'm telling you, Mike didn't have it yesterday, and that's not an indictment on who Mike is because we've seen what Mike has done. But I'm watching this guy sell ball. I'm watching a very accurate quarterback sell balls and miss wide open guys. That's not what he does. At that point, I know that he doesn't have it. I'm going to put the next guy in because the next guy gives me a chance to win because there is no fucking tomorrow. I don't care about the Miami game. 100%. That shit don't mean nothing to me now. The season is fucking over.
And this isn't and for bullshit. People like this isn't second guessing because if you watched our stream yesterday, I was saying this real time. Right, prime time. I'm not like we don't like the one thing we don't do here is we don't sit around like, oh yeah, we know we do this real shit. We have it on film. Like, dude, he didn't have it. I thought it should have came out. Yeah, prime time.
No, I was gonna say like, yes, we have it on film. And what were we saying during the third quarter at Buffalo? I never want to see Joe Flacco again. He looked fucking miserable. So it's like that was the whole point I was trying to make. That like this whole season we've gone from all right, Joe Flacco's great after he comes back against the Browns. Now Zach Wilson comes back. Now he's the hero. Plays great against Buffalo. All right, now he sucks 2 games in a row against the Patriots. Now Mike White's the hero. Mike White gets hurt. We're back to Zach. He sucks. Chance for Streveler. Like we've gone back and forth all year. Like the extremes of it is what I'm just calling out.
So but he didn't have listen. I'm just saying this right here, bro. And everyone, you have to understand this. Like, y'all know I love Mike White. I've been screaming for Mike White all season long.
Yeah, me too.
What I'm saying yesterday, he didn't have it. So to give me the best chance to win. At that point, man, I realized that, listen, and as a coach, you got to see this. You see this guy, you know what this guy is. You know this guy is accurate as shit. He gets the ball to the right person. He wasn't doing that. Yo, he's not right. He's not ready to go. Let me put the next guy in. You know what I'm saying? He's been out for a couple of weeks. You know what I'm saying? He didn't get reps, whatever. I don't know what it is.
Maybe he was rusty. Maybe he needed to shake off the rust.
It's our fucking season. It's our
but not
season,
even that.
bro.
But not even that. If it's just even if the ribs, the pain, the damaged ribs is too much, where he's compromised, where he can't complete his passes, can't do whatever. He took a couple, whatever it is. To me, he didn't play well. And like people, like I'm not writing him off. Like let him play this Sunday. Hopefully he plays well. You want to bring him back next year? Wonderful. I don't care. Like, and what I don't understand is why are there fans happy that Mike White failed? Like, why are you so happy that he failed?
Well, those are the fans that never wanted to see White to begin with.
How
that
can
just
you
wanted Zach
for the
to ride out the year.
Yeah. Like, do people not want to find answers and win games?
I think some people were worried that Mike White was more of like Fitzpatrick, where, if he played well these final 2 games, like I was bringing up Friday night, not trying to be negative, but like if he played well these 2 games, you sign him to a long-term extension, and then he has a couple games like this next year, then what do you do?
But he's had 7 starts, 8 starts.
I know.
You know what the problem is, and I'm gonna say this because we're venting tonight. I'm gonna say this right here. This is
Let
the
it all
whole
out.
issue right here. People would rather lose their way than win our way. That's the problem.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
That's 'cause of social media, though.
you want to break down Mike White. I'm gonna break down Mike White for you. Really simple. The kid gets no reps in really OTAs. He gets no really reps in training camp. The kid sets all season long as a third quarterback. He comes in and he plays well, better than the quarterback that you had, that we drafted, that didn't have it. That's the problem. He didn't have it. Because if you really want to be technical, if he wouldn't have lost the 2 games to New England, we wouldn't be having this conversation. That's the problem. This is why this team drives me crazy, because we got to deal with this type of stupid shit.
Well, and that's what happens when you lose, though, man. So then you go the Mike White thing. Mike White doesn't play well. That's a problem. The running game really never gets going. The one change they made was they gave Ty Johnson more opportunities, who did look good against Jacksonville. He looked physical. He looked explosive. So they gave him some of the, more reps than usual. But the running game couldn't get going prime time. That was a problem where it's like, you do that. Your play action pass looks a lot better. They tried doing that. They had a couple good runs. And they get stopped. Some of the stuff seemed predictable. And the offensive line just couldn't get in sync, man. Like they couldn't flex their muscles at the right time, man.
It just feels like, I remember last year, like all the reverse end arounds and shit like that. There hasn't really been any like kind of creativity this year. I feel like everything's just been, Barrios in motion and working something off that. There's really been nothing like outside the box, creative thinking from LaFleur this year. That's the one area I'll give him some critique as far as just his lack of creativity, the inability to produce in the red zone. Like those are fair critiques of, LaFleur, and that's with all quarterbacks this year.
Yep.
And the slow starts too. Throw that in there.
I feel like, I think in the first 7 games, 8 games, we dominated in the fourth quarter. The line dominated in some kind of way. To me, and I've said this before, it's like when Fant came back, the line and Mitchell went down, the line just went left, and it hasn't came back since then. They're not playing with any kind of urgency, any kind of physicality, and then just getting manhandled in the last 4 or 5 games. That's why we lost. I mean, if you want to point out anything, Tomlinson, all these guys have played bad. They play really, really bad. And the only person I'm going to give a little bit of a pass to is Brown, because he's playing with an almost dislocated shoulder, and he's out there fighting to be done the way he's been done. So that's the problem with the running game. That's why we couldn't run the football. Yeah, Ty Johnson coming in, and Michael Carter wasn't even getting a lot of carries. So the running game at one point was working, but when the line got broke, they didn't fix it. So.
No, so you have the running backs didn't get a lot going, which is fine. So you're like, all right, go to the tight end group. Conklin had the big catch, the big play. Uzama, I guess, based on how you look at it, had 2 drops. But it's just the tight end position to me is I don't know what happened to Rucker, why he wasn't even active. Like he's just a wasted year, like a redshirt year for Rucker, which has like a receiving ability. But the tight end group is either not utilized correctly, and when they are utilized, they drop the ball. They don't complete the plays. It's like it's just
every catch is an adventure with them. It seems like even the one that Conklin had, the first one of the game, he almost dropped it.
Yep.
Yeah, I was scared.
Both those balls to Uzama hit him in the hands. I thought those were catchable passes. He should have had those. And like you said, I have no idea why Rucker at some point this year hasn't seen the field, extended reps. Give him a look. You got plenty of rookie mid-round tight ends this year that are making plays. Last night, Isaiah Likely, first touchdown of the game for the Ravens. Like I don't know why we can't incorporate Rucker into this offense somehow, unless he's just not good.
And I want to say this right here, guys, and this is what really gets me on the floor, and I'll touch on this real quick with the tight end situation. Seattle has been giving up almost 200 or 150 yards to every tight end they played the last 3 weeks. Why wouldn't you exploit them with that? And I thought that was going to be the plan. And then
Conklin had like 70 yards.
Yeah, I mean, he had 70, but he should have had
garbage
170. Or Uzama should have had another 100 and something. And now, I heard you guys were saying that, Uzama dropped the ball. The ball was kind of high, bro. He had to jump and go get that ball. It wasn't. I mean, he touched his hand, but it was up there high. But that was the problem.
Getting paid $10 million, catch the ball.
If you look at the tight ends all season long, they have not been used all season long correctly. I have not seen. Listen, the middle of the field. I don't understand why you're running your tight ends towards the sidelines instead of running them up the middle of the field. And I think that's a problem in the ineffective system with his offense. You know what I'm saying? So the tight ends wasn't used correctly, and then Rucker not playing. Listen, the kid is physical. He can block, and he can catch the ball as well. The kid should have got some play.
And that's the thing, though. It's like you take it like. The selling point of Mike LaFleur was he takes advantage of mismatches. He's going to maximize the potential and the talent of the guys on his team. And it's not true because the same way that Seattle attacked us, the Jets can attack most teams when you have two tight ends like the ones we have, or in the running backs we have coming out of the backfield. Like this, it doesn't make any sense. So then it's like, well, as a fan, are we overvaluing our players? We can't overvalue them because they're not getting enough opportunities to flourish, right? Like it's ridiculous.
It feels like a lot of these guys aren't really being used the right way. You got tight ends that can get open, and and even when they do get open, like we were saying, I mean, sometimes they're even dropping it. So maybe that's why they've stopped featuring them as much. I don't know, but I'm sure we'll get to the receivers next. You got plenty of receivers. Like, where's Elijah Moore? Why does he never get featured? Where were the targets for Garrett Wilson? Like,
and the Corey Davis drops passes. So it's like you don't
exactly.
And Tyson, you had a great point. You just said that LaFleur is supposed to create mismatches. He does create mismatches for himself. Yep. That's the issue, because he doesn't. I mean, in prime time, I really agree with you, man. I think, and I've given him credit all season long, because I think his offense does work. I think that he really does not use guys correctly. He does not create mismatches the way we thought he would. Those tight ends they're both over 6'2", 6'3". You can use these guys up the middle, man. You could kill with those guys, and I do not understand why that was done that way. So.
Yeah, so you look at the wide receiver is disappointing. You expect Garrett Wilson was over 1,000 yards, wonderful. That's great. A building block for the future. But you look at the offense and you just see so much potential. And you watch game day and you're like, why does this look so difficult? Mike White being off doesn't help, but there's still plays weren't there. Like they weren't being scripted right. There was no flow in the offense, no rhyme or reason. The passing game has gone backwards for a month now. Right? It's been a month. This isn't like you don't want to look at something in a silo, like, oh, we're just one game. They lost 5 in a row. And a lot of this shit we've seen week in and week out. We have the same questions. And the constant is poor play calling. So if you want to look, and other thing too is, and primetime, you mentioned it too, whenever the Jets make some kind of progress, you guarantee it's going to be a false start or a drop pass. I think, who was it yesterday? Was it Dwayne Brown? I think it was. Yep. But it was like you get those dumb penalties, and it's just like always at the worst time. It's just they just bite themselves in the ass all the time. Like, right? It's just you just wait for it.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying before. About Mike White in the first half, where I thought he played decent enough where I was giving him the rest of the game. They were in Seattle territory every single drive. The only time in the first half that they didn't get into Seattle territory was the very last drive because they ran out of time. That's because Berrios couldn't catch the friggin' punt.
Yep.
So, I mean, the offense was moving the ball, but then, like you said, every time they get across midfield, something goes wrong. Penalty, sack, it's always some bullshit. The last 5 weeks, it's been the same story. They can't convert once they start moving the ball. They shoot themselves in the foot every time.
And even like the play call from 3rd and 4 to 4th and 4, the 3rd and 4 call was terrible. And the 4th and 4, I know Mike White missed Garrett Wilson, but the play call, you're like, it just doesn't make any sense. There's no flow to it. Nope. It drives me crazy. So then you go to Mike LaFleur, and Sala's comments today drove me crazy, where he's like, if you're and this is where Sala to me was like, this press conference was about him justifying his job, saving his job, and saving his staff's job when he's in the middle of a 5-game losing streak. And the other comment I'll just say it now, the other comment that really pissed me off is he kept saying, like, you know what? When the dust settles, everybody can look back at the season and realize how much we accomplished. Well, that's not true, Coach. Because when I think back to the 2022 team, I'm going to be like, that's the team that fucking choked and lost 5 games in a row with these meaningful games in December and completely collapsed and should have cost you your job. I'm not going to give you credit for 7 wins when you completely melted down. I'm not going to do that.
But even if he does believe that, now's not the time to say it.
No.
You wait till the end of the year, all the exit interviews, then you say that shit. Right?
That shit today was
less than 24 hours after a collapse, you don't say that shit.
He's like, there's some really cool things. Coach, your team just came out lifeless in back-to-back games, season on the line. There's nothing cool about that. Like this is New York, dude. This is New York and New Jersey. We don't tolerate this shit. It's not like he's had 10 winning seasons and this is the first time he's had a speed bump. No, you weren't good last year as a head coach. You showed some good things, but your team's it's the epic meltdown. Nope. Don't tell me how things are cool and good and bright and all that shit. Not the time, man.
Like I was saying before, it's him trying to like justify it to himself, to ownership, to the GMs, to the fan base. Bro, he's trying to buy himself more time.
Nobody's buying
him. Listen, man, you can't justify what we've seen, man. Listen, you had the last 3 weeks that you had must-win games and you lost all of them, and the last 2 games were lifeless. When you needed both of those games, your only primetime game, you guys come out there, you get murdered. Then we go to Seattle.
Your own building.
This is all you have left. And what do? You choke. So no,
and especially when
at all.
You can't preach all gas, no brakes, and all these things. Talk about we're in better shape than everybody else. This is why we had the program. Our program is in place. We know it's not going to fail. Remember those comments?
Yep.
Our program is too good to fail.
can't preach all gas, no break, and punt on 4th and 2.
No,
I'm
you
from the
can't
40,
preach.
down by 14.
Yo, listen,
Down
you
2
can't
scores in the 4th quarter, 10 minutes left. You're preaching all gas, no break, and you're going to punt?
You
Jackass.
can't preach all. You
Don't
can't
work.
preach all gas, no break when your team come out lifeless. You can't do that.
So then you go to Mike LaFleur, which is the play calling, and the thing is, you don't realize like where is the progress this year? Like what are you hanging your hat on? You could say Garrett Wilson.
Yeah,
Other than that,
individual players. That's all you can really
Garrett Wilson,
hang your
Brees
hat
Hall
on.
before he got
Yeah.
hurt.
Yeah.
Brees
That's
Hall,
it.
Yep.
There's little. What else are you proud of on offense? You look at the running backs. Brees Hall got hurt. Zonovan Knight was a nice find. Did some really good things. The tight end position overall has been a disappointment. The wide receivers overall have been a disappointment. Elijah Moore wanted out. Didn't play well.
Let's just go through
Corey
the
Davis
entire
dropped
offense
passes.
right now. You're talking about needing at least one tight end probably because you can't trust the two that you have to be anything more than what they are, and you don't know
Yep.
what Ruckert is. So you probably need another tight end. Who knows if Elijah Moore is going to be back? Corey Davis could be cut. Berrios could be cut. So you might need at least 2 receivers.
Yep.
Offensive line, McGovern's a free
Need
agent.
three-
Fant's
need
a
three
free
people.
agent. At least 2 starters, probably 3. Dwayne Brown probably retires. Becton, who knows if he's going to be healthy? Like you're talking about redoing almost the entire offense already.
But
You
no,
got
but
Garrett
it gets
Wilson,
better.
you got Brees Hall, you
And
got
only
ABT, and what else? And
No,
quarterback.
but it gets better. It gets better because the team, in theory, to some, is 1 quarterback away. Okay, well, you've had 2 years of this staff developing quarterbacks, and what exactly has Mike LaFleur shown you that he could develop a quarterback and develop an offense? He can't.
Yep.
He can't
Well-
do it. So Sala, in order to keep his job, has to fire the coordinator and bring in somebody that's a veteran coordinator. He has to.
Do you think LaFleur's job, though, is tied to the decision that they make at quarterback? In terms of who they go after, if they bring in a veteran versus drafting another kid? Like, if they
I don't
draft
know.
a kid,
You-
there's no way they're going to bring a rookie
No, they're
into...
going to have to.
Nah,
They're going to have to go veteran quarterback. You know what? Let me
You
tell
gotta
you
go
why they have to go veteran quarterback. Because Sala has to save his job. Sala does not. He can't
So-
tell Woody Johnson, you know what? Let's draft somebody else. Give me 2 more years. No,
Nope. Nah,
you need
it's
to
not
win
happening.
next year.
Okay,
You
Period.
can't- listen.
So then
it's
does
not-
it
listen,
depend on which quarterback you get as far as whether or not LaFleur stays? Like, if you get a quarterback that can thrive, like a Derek Carr in a West Coast offense, does that make sense to keep LaFleur as opposed to Lamar Jackson or somebody like that?
I have no faith in. I have no faith in this.
I
Like,
mean,
to me, the first step you make at the end of the season, you fire the
or-
quarterback coach.
Or if
You
you're
fire
keeping
him.
Zach, do you want him to learn another system going into year 3?
Who cares? To me,
I'm-
Zach's
I'm-
irrelevant.
I'm-
To me-
I'm
to me-
throwing- but that's
to
what
me,
I'm saying.
Zach's
though.
irrelevant.
It
It doesn't
depends
matter
on
anymore.
it
Yeah.
depends on how they're viewing the quarterback position.
Yeah.
If in their minds they still think Zach's part of their future, they might not want him to learn a new offense in year 3.
Listen, there's no way that Sala right now thinks Zach Wilson's the future. Are you going to pin? There's a head coach going into a playoff mandate year next year, which if not, Woody Johnson's clueless. They have to win games next year. Are you going to put your head coaching career in New York with Zach Wilson as your quarterback next year?
Nope.
Absolutely not.
No.
There's no
No
living
way.
way in hell Sala's
Listen,
going to do that.
But
no way.
what if they can't get the top 3, like Rodgers, Carr, Lamar Jackson, if those guys
Sit-
aren't available?
Not my
It's
problem.
Mike White coming
But-
back
but-
with a mid-level veteran, so there's a good chance you might end up seeing Zach Wilson at some point. Even if he's not your starter, you might end up seeing him at some point.
I still don't. You don't have. So that's gonna be Salah's choice is to keep LaFleur 1 more year and double down on him and saying I have faith in him to develop an offense and to run an offense. So that could be your excuse. We have the right guy. We have the wrong quarterbacks. That's gonna be the excuse for LaFleur.
Nah, that's
His
not gonna be
offense
the
is good, but the
excuse. There's no way
quarterbacks
you
are the
can-
problem.
But really, I mean, if we're being honest, hasn't the quarterback just played bad in 1 game? In terms
No,
of starts
it-
that weren't made by Zach in this offense? I mean,
yeah,
we've had
listen,
1 bad game from a quarterback not named Zach in this offense.
I mean, listen. I want to say this right here. Listen, I don't feel like LaFleur is the whole problem here. I think it's the fact of everything that's lined in together. I do think that quarterback play has been
So
bad.
LaFleur is not the problem. So who
that-
Zach Wilson's failure to develop is on who?
I think
No,
he's
I
a
mean,
problem, but not the
He's
biggest
the
problem.
yeah, exactly.
Who's the biggest problem on offense?
Quarterback,
quarterback?
by far. The
By
quarterback.
far. Yep.
So then Mike White having a problem in the red zone is him or LaFleur?
I mean, Berrios dropping a ball obviously affects
So
that.
what about yesterday?
I mean, they didn't even get in the red
That-
zone.
yeah.
So then
listen,
that's all Mike White. So then all the Jets have scored 2 touchdowns. What?
But
They
that's
scored
what I'm saying, though.
9 points
They-
in 2
they-
weeks. Is
I'm
that LaFleur
saying-
or the quarterback?
I'm saying they've had, 8-9 games without Zach Wilson, right?
Right.
They've passed the ball and moved the ball pretty well in almost all those games, except yesterday without Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
maybe it is just a quarterback thing.
So if the Jets can't score points, it's just on the quarterback.
No, I mean, listen, you
Not
you
just on the
factor
quarterback.
but you
They're-
factor
again, they're-
you factor
Right.
They're
every part of
horrific
it,
in the red zone.
But I'm saying that's on everybody. You have drop passes, you have fumbles, like everybody's
the
fucking
line
up.
crumbling. You have
So then, in your world, everybody comes back next year, roll the floor. We have no problems. Just get a quarterback.
What do you think solves the offense faster, a quarterback or a new system with the same?
Well, the problem I think the Jets are going to have is that anybody that's going to talk to Sala in the back of their heads, be like, this guy's on the hot seat. Why am I going to go to New York and coach under Sala?
He's not.
Right, think about it. Like, just like, and I'll say, I wanted Frank Reich. Frank Reich was high on my list, but then I thought about it. I'm like, why would Frank Reich come here? Because if the Jets don't play well next year, the staff is all getting fired. Sala's out of here. So do you want, when Frank Reich is making a shitload of money, right? And it is a reputable guy, respect the guy. With the Colts had a quarterback problem all over the place. They all sucked. Do you want to resurrect your career in New York with your head coach on the hot seat? Probably not. Do you want stability?
I mean, if
you're not getting nobody, you're not getting anybody credible coming in when you know Sala's on the hot seat. So the problem is that if you plan on changing the coordinator, you're probably gonna change the head coach as well because you have to get some kind of stability. Why would Frank Reich anybody that's really a solid OC come in knowing that you're on a hot seat? That makes no sense.
And I'm just telling you, based on what we heard today, Sala is not firing LaFleur.
He's not going to fire him. But
so then you know what happens?
I would fire my offensive line coach. I would fire him.
Well, but then you know what needs to happen? If Sala is going to double down and stay, this is my staff, I feel great about them, then either Joe Douglas or Woody Johnson is going to have to say, listen, man, you can't end the season on 6 losses and bring everybody back and say everything is perfect when it's not. Because we could see it's not fine. Like, don't you think? Like, you got like the quarterback coach could be fired for this point. I mean, what is it? The quarterback
should be fired anyway. I mean,
I'm saying, like, anyway. So so I'll ask Primetime. Do you think that's the case where Sala is going to say nobody's getting fired? Is that the responsibility of Joe Douglas, who is above him? That's who Sala reports to, right? That's the structure. Does Joe Douglas say, listen, man, you've got to make changes. This is unacceptable.
You either mandate changes or you tell Sala that if you really feel comfortable with these guys, kind of like we were saying yesterday, the conversation that should have happened with Woody Johnson and Joe Douglas, if these are your guys and you feel comfortable with them, then you're going down with them. Like if the offense doesn't work and we've got to make a change with LaFleur, like you're going down with him too. Like we're cleaning house. And I like I was saying also, I think that conversation should be had with Woody to Joe Douglas in terms of Sala. If you've got a chance, potentially, I'm sure we'll talk about this more with like Sean Payton. There's rumors about Harbaugh today. If you got a chance to get one of those guys, you can't fuck around. Make that shit happen.
But they had a chance at Harbaugh last time. They didn't go after him.
I know. But I'm saying, though, like, you're not going to fire Sala to bring in another first-time head coach, right?
No, you're not doing that. Nope.
No, absolutely.
So chances are he's going to get another year. So, like, if I'm Woody, I'm telling Joe Douglas, like, if you're willing to ride things out with Sala and you don't want to make a move, then, like, you guys are all tied together. Like you're not going to get a chance to.
Do you imagine they bring back the same exact staff next year?
They might.
Yeah, I mean,
Sala's a loyal dude, man. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but he's loyal, dude. He's not going to fire them.
At the end of the day, when it comes down to it, listen, it's a playoff mandate already, so that's coming out the gate. So if you
it's a playoff mandate.
Your horses to him,
but at some point, if Sala's not going to hold people accountable, isn't it Joe Douglas responsible to say, listen, man, you've lost what 5 in a row. All these games, your team collapsed. There's a lot of mistakes, a lot of problems. How is anybody being held accountable? You can't be complacent and be like, it's okay, right? There has to be changes somewhere, dude. There has to be. And
they're going to justify it by saying that they met expectations. The expectations this year were to win 7 or 8 games. They're going to win 7 or 8 games.
But you lost 5 straight, though. But my problem is this: expectations change once you got 6-3 and 7-4.
Not even that. It's deeper than that. It's deeper than that. It's deeper than that. The fucking reason why this staff came in here is to develop and mold a young team. Right now, after 2 years, they have not developed a quarterback. Period. Zach Wilson isn't it. Zach Wilson regressed. He's damaged goods. So now people are saying, well, if Sean Payton's here, he can help Zach Wilson grow. What the fuck is Sala here for? What is this staff here for? And then
so
Sala today saying, you know what? Look what happened with Daniel Jones.
I was just gonna bring that up.
You dumb fuck. You know what happened with Daniel Jones? They hired an offensive-minded head coach who knows how to groom a goddamn quarterback. Something you can't do. He actually made himself look fucking stupid.
With the proven track record of developing Josh Allen over 4 years.
Look
how he developed Josh Allen.
That comment killed me. That comment killed me today because that's exactly what the problem.
Daniel Jones got a coach. Bingo, Larry, you hit it.
You didn't listen.
I don't think he realized what he said.
He exposed himself.
Yeah.
Yep, he did, bro. Tyson in prime time. Listen, I know he didn't mean to say that. You know what I'm saying? He said
he's
it.
calculated, dude. He thought he was trying to be all cute and shit.
It was the truth of what he said, though. Listen, but the problem is you're trying to develop something that's your responsibility. Listen, you're going into the whole season, and this is my problem. That when we had the expectation that we wasn't going to win this year, I was fine playing Zach. Once you saw that this team was better than what you thought it was, you stopped playing the young kid. The problem is you didn't ride that out. What you did was you thought that you had a better team than what you had because you got outcoached. You got outcoached 3 or 4 games, and he was the problem. If anyone else Patriots game, if we had to pull Zach and put Mike White in there, we'd be having a different conversation right now. It's the problem.
But see, hold on, and it is Dave, and I love you, dude. I don't think it's all coaching. You need playmakers. Most important position is quarterback, and the Jets don't have one. And listen, first off, the Jets do have playmakers. They weren't maximizing their potential. Secondly, like I said earlier with Frank Reich, why would he want to come here, man? Because Sala's on the hot seat, dude. There is no way.
As a quarterback coach?
He's a former coach. He's be an offensive coordinator at least.
He's not taking that, bro. Listen, he's not taking that because
You don't think he gets a head coaching job if he turns around Zach Wilson as quarterback coach?
Dude, I don't think nobody's being brought in here to save Zach Wilson. They're going to be brought in here to win games and save Sala's job. Exactly. I think Zach Wilson's an afterthought at this fucking point. Yep. So, and that's
I think we all think that. I don't know if Sala and Douglas think that.
Dude, there's no way, dude. There is no way that Sala and Douglas are saying, you know what, Zach is our guy. Next year is his year. There's no way. They're not going to put their careers on it, man. They know. Dude, first of all, the team doesn't respect him. The players don't respect him. And they and their infinite wisdom, they let this team embarrass him by the way this team embraced Mike White and shunned Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson, if anything, if he was smart, would ask for a trade. He'd be like, you know what? I don't even want to be here. I want to change the senior because you know what? It's the media hates me, the fans hate me, the team doesn't even like me. I don't give a shit what nice things you say about me. I want to be out of here. And I wouldn't blame him one bit. I think it'd be smart at this point. Get the hell out of here, man.
Probably what Gino was telling him after the game when they were hugging it out for 20 seconds.
And you know what you say? And Zach, you know what, Zach?
Fuck out of New York.
Go to a team with a legitimate coaching staff. Go with McVay. Go with some kind of offensive-minded coach that will actually work with you. Look what McVay did with Baker Mayfield in 2 games. That was a whole different quarterback. So
you gotta. This is a win now. This is
so tired of this shit.
The only thing they're gonna sell next year is a win now team. You gotta have a veteran quarterback in.
I'm
telling you,
if you're raising tickets,
if you don't get nobody like Carr, Garoppolo in this building, I don't know who else you could go get that's going to be. Because listen, you're not getting Lamar Jackson. Please stop saying that shit. It's not happening. Nope. Like, let's be for real with that. I mean, seriously. And I don't think Carr's realistic. I think Carr's probably the best quarterback for us. I don't think they'll get Carr either. But I mean, we're going to
want to. He's going to go. He'll be. But before we can go to the whole quarterback thing for next year, we'll go to the defense now. So the defense yesterday, the game starts, you're down 7-0 right off the bat, and you're like, okay, here's this top 5 defense that Sala is so proud of. Like, I don't. Like, the way he talked about the defense, they thought they were Chicago Bears, right? The 85 Bears, the new age Ravens. I mean, what does he talk like? Does Sala realize they're losing 5 games in a row? Does he think this is okay? Like, why does he think everything is okay and this is fine? Like, you don't realize how good things really are. Your defense yesterday, again, started off slow in the first half. They got better second half, but the damage is already done. The light was taken out of the team. They were uninspired. Right, prime time. Like
I can't keep justifying the defense like doing what they've been doing the last few weeks. Like at
the end of games,
at the end of games, we keep saying like, all right, they kept them in it. If the offense put up points, the Jets had a chance. They should have been able to win it. The defense ultimately did their job, but no, like that's not enough anymore. Like we saw in the first half of the year, they have more than enough talent. You've got 2 shutdown corners, and you've got playmakers on your D line, and somehow you can't.
Oops. We lose prime time?
Yeah, we lost prime time. But back to what he was saying. Though.
No, but Tyron, just go to like we did a game preview, and since the bye, let's be honest, teams know how to attack our defense.
Yes, sir.
They know how to attack it. You're not going to attack Sauce. You're not going to attack Reed. You're going to worry about Carl Lawson on the edge, and then you're going to say, you know what? Attack the safeties, attack the linebackers. Yep. That's exactly what you're going to do. You're going to attack like exactly what the Jacksonville Jaguars did is exactly what the Seattle Seahawks did.
Yes, sir.
Because you know what? They know how to attack. So Sala had 10 days to figure out how to offset that, and they didn't do it.
And listen, and the biggest thing about it is everyone knows if you double team McQuinnan and you run the ball up the gut, they're not stopping the run. And they're not running to the outside. They're running straight up the gut, and they're getting chunk yards every single play. Like I said, there's no adjustments being done, and that's the problem. I mean, when you have something, I don't know if their game plan is just so simple. They don't figure out that you need to make adjustments in game. I mean, I know that they were doing a great job at halftime.
When you have shut down corners, like I understand Sala's principles, but prime time to go
that's
though.
just what I was going to say before I got cut off. Like Rex Ryan blitzed. I mean, how many percent of the time? Like 50% of the time, like some games.
Yeah.
He didn't have the kind of studs that we
Nope.
have now on the D line. Like he didn't have a Quinnen Williams on that defensive line, and he still found ways to generate pressure. And for whatever reason, like I don't know why, Sala's just he's stubborn. Yeah, exactly. He's stubborn with just rushing for and playing coverage to death. He doesn't get off of that. You'll see a few blitzes here and there. They don't
winning with that.
It's funny where you hear Sala say he self-scouts and self-evaluates. It's blatantly obvious since the bye, the teams looked at the first half of the season, figure out what the Jets are doing, and say, okay, here's how we're going to counter. Here's how we're going to go after it. And Sala didn't adjust. And the thing is, too, it's like if you want to play that little zones, 4-man, whatever, in between like the 30s, you get whatever. You want to do that. But once you get to like the 35-yard line, all right, we got to start unloading our offer. We got to start unloading Bryce Huff, who played, 8 snaps again, which is completely ridiculous. Like,
what's it, 14 combined the last 2 weeks for him?
Ridiculous. And it's just, incredible. I don't know. The defense, and I'll keep saying it. When you're watching the defense like this, the first half, you want to see Sala just make a change, take over play calling, something, and he doesn't do it.
Yeah, it's horrible. Listen, like you said, it's no in-game adjustments. It's no in-game adjustments, and that's the problem. And your linebackers can't really cover, and your safety was hurt. He probably should have been in there anyway.
Slow.
And they
look tired.
Absolutely. They look sluggish. They came out with zero effort, and I'm gonna tell you this right here. And I don't know how you guys feel about this. I can't justify Lawson getting $17 million a year. I just can't. No. Not from what I've seen from him this season, bro.
Tyrone, let me ask you a question. I asked Tyson this yesterday. Which free agent contract that Joe Douglas has signed over the last 3 years, which player has exceeded what they're actually getting paid right now?
DJ Reed.
Other than him, is there anybody?
DJ Reed.
Is there really anybody other than him? George Fenton, you maybe could have said the first 2 years, but he's been terrible this year.
Lawson had 7 sacks, right? 7 sacks right now.
Yeah. 15 million. $2 million a sack.
Corey Davis, no. Lawson, no. Tomlinson, no. McGovern, no.
Whitehead, no.
Maybe Rankins this year right here, but not the first year for sure. Nobody other than DJ Reed. Nobody. Because I'm telling you, man, I'm sitting there watching these guys play, and it's like, yo, listen, it's been, he's had an amazing draft, but free agent wise,
John Franklin Myers is a good player, but look isn't he making like $15 million a year? What's his
something like 12? Something like 12, 13 up there. Yeah, he's up there though.
He's up there. Yeah, he's up there.
More than 10. I know that.
Solid, but McGovern's also gonna be gone, I think.
Yeah, I think he's a free agent as well.
You can maybe throw McGovern in there. He's been okay.
Well, the line's been. I tell you one thing. Can you name a line player that he brought in that you're happy about?
No.
You want to go back to some of the debates we were having in the offseason 3 years ago when, what's his name? Trent Williams was available and Conklin was available.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you had all the cap space in the world to solidify that offensive line. And yeah, Tristan Wirf sitting there. You take Becton. So much for the offensive line guru.
So, and to your point, Triton, when they brought in players, like I'll admit, I like Conklin. I liked Uzama. I liked all these things. And we expected a lot different. But you know what? I'm a fan and I don't give out the contracts. So you know how you're evaluated as a general manager who gets paid gazillion dollars a year to do this job? By your wins and your losses and by how the players are performing based on the value. Now, Joe Douglas was smart in terms of he has quick outs with these contracts. So now you can get out of the Lawson deal, get out of the Corey Davis deal. But
wasn't that the exact same conversation we were having with Mike McCagnon, though? Oh, he structures these deals where you can get out from underneath them.
Yep.
But like, where was the foundation being built? All that money that was just constantly being recycled and wasted. You're not building anything.
We didn't have the Tremaine Johnson thing. He didn't have that kind of contract.
Listen, the one thing I will say about Joe Douglas is his draft. His last 2 drafts have been knockout punches. And that's
last two drafts.
Last two, really? Want to try that again?
Well, 1.5. 1.5. I'm counting AVT in that, man. I'm gonna count
AVT and what else?
What else?
Do we know what Elijah Moore is right now?
Listen,
Do we know Michael Carter's regressed
I'm
this year?
gonna count AVT, baby. You leave me alone with that.
So
I'll give you AVT and Michael Carter, the cornerback.
Yeah.
Michael Carter, the running back, right now looks like just another guy. Unfortunately, he looked great his rookie year. Looked great early in the year. I don't know what's happened since. Maybe he's hurt. Yeah. But yeah, other than those guys, I mean, what do you have from that?
Because the problem with McCagnon was it's not your first 2-round picks that you get the first 2 rounds. It's your depth in the later rounds where you build it. So when you cut guys like Lawson, you could bring in Michael Clemens or Jermaine Johnson or whatever else. But I mean, Joe Douglas's resume, if you're looking at it now, what we thought was going to happen, what did happen. It's not pretty, dude. It's not. This draft, Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner are saving Joe Douglas a lot of fucking embarrassment right now.
Might have saved his job.
Probably might have.
If you missed on the head coach and quarterback and you don't have this past draft,
Yep.
I don't know.
This guy saved his ass big time.
Let me ask you a question though. Like when I was talking about Lawson, do you think like Johnson and Clemens? I'm gonna tell you this. Watch them yesterday. Them guys look really good on the field together. So why not put them on the field when Quinn's out there as well?
There was that one series where the backup D line looked better than the starters.
Yep.
They made like 2 or 3 plays in a row.
You see what I'm saying, bro?
Yeah.
Exactly. You know,
They
and it was Solomon Thomas. Imagine them being there with Q. You know, listen. I'm not the head coach. I'm just a fan. But watching what I'm watching, man. Listen. We had 21 million, 22 million in cap money. So you want to re-sign all these guys? You want to get Derek Carr in there? You better figure some shit out, bro. Because this team needs a lot of work, and it wasn't that way.
They have a lot of questions. You look at special teams. I mean, Braden Mann's horrific. Braxton Berry.
Listen, can we? Why is he still on the team? I heard someone say that yesterday. Like, yo, why is he still safe?
You know, a better question is the better question is they never even brought in competition for him in training camp. They didn't even bring in competition. They were so content with him that, like, you know what? He's our guy. That's it. No competition. Nothing.
Game.
You want to bring Kyle on to talk about the punters and kickers? They didn't do shit. All training camp. They didn't do anything.
That too. You was like, yo, you said about maybe last year. You was like, yo, he's good for a Schenker game, bro. You know what I've been watching? He's good for a Schenker game.
Morstead was the best guy they had last year. They cut him, and when he went somewhere else, was Special Teams Player of the Month.
Yep.
So, powerful, I mean, overall, the game is a ridiculous disappointment, and I don't like. It's just you're playing Miami next week. I don't give a shit. I'm going to drink. I'm a good time. I don't care if they win or lose. I don't care about draft lists. I don't care about this. So the topics today, and everybody obviously wanted to listen to Joe Benigno and see what he had to say because he was going to go off the rails. And I thought Joe blew it because not Joe blew it, but Joe blew it. That to bring up Rex Ryan, you could not ask for a worse guy to come back to this team because Rex couldn't develop quarterbacks either.
No,
like that's not the answer. Like
he couldn't develop quarterbacks, and he couldn't find an offensive coordinator either.
And his defense couldn't close out games. But it's like this thing now. It's like, to me, it's all about the offense and finding a quarterback and returning this team to the levels of the NFL. You're watching tonight. You got Bengals, Bills, 2 high-flying offenses. So to me, Rex Ryan isn't the guy for that. That's not the answer. We all love Rex and the championship run, the 2 championship games, all that stuff. That's it. But time has passed, man. That's not.
Rex will always have a special place in my heart. I'm always grateful for those 2 years.
Not the answer.
Like,
Hell yeah,
I love him to death, but completely agree. Like, there's no reason to go back. I mean, he got his second chance in Buffalo. It was the same thing as his last 4 years with the Jets. There's no reason to go backwards with that shit.
I love Rex, but now it's time to move on. And listen, I mean, I don't know if Sala's the guy or not, but you can't keep just throwing band-aids over problems. This thing needs to be fixed, man. And then the problem that gets me more than anything is I really thought we were here. Like, I really thought this was we were gonna make the playoffs. Like to tell me we're gonna lose 5 games in a row. Like,
but here's the thing, Tyrone. Here's the thing. If you took this current team, this year's team, and you gave it to Sean Payton or Jim Harbaugh,
playoffs.
Is this a playoff team?
Yes.
Playoff all the way around. Playoff team, absolutely. Sean Payton, bro. Listen, we're contending for a title.
So that's the thing. Payton. So now, like, I don't think Woody Johnson has any balls. He will not fire Sala. But if he did have a spine, he would call Sean Payton. I agree with everybody saying that is a guy. To me, this is just
so. How do you make that happen, though, without, like, stepping on toes? I mean, Joe Douglas is supposed to be your football guy, and you've got this new line of command where it's, head coach to GM to owner. I mean, how do you just say, all right, fuck it, I'm getting back in football operations, and I'm calling up a head coach that I like?
If you're hiring Sean Payton, you're firing Joe D anyway.
Exactly, but I'm saying, like,
probably. But then what if you don't get him? Then what happens?
But see, the thing is, to me, this is very similar because I'm an older fan. This is very similar to when the Jets needed that legitimate culture change, credibility, respect. Like, because when you had Kotite, they had talent. They were out of shape, undisciplined, and weren't coached well. Parcells came in and immediately 9-7. They should make the playoffs, but everything changed immediately. Everybody's held accountable. You knew talent was being maximized like that. That's Sean Payton, dude. That is it. And furthermore, Sean Payton would groom your quarterback. You're going to have a play caller there that's going to have your shit in check. So whether it's Derek Carr, whoever it is, if you bring in Derek Carr, let Zach Wilson sit and watch for you, I don't give a shit. Your team is going to be on another level. If that means you got to give up a first-round pick, I don't care, man.
First-round pick's not the problem. The $100 million or whatever he's probably going to get.
Yeah.
That's the problem. That
Yeah,
Woody Johnson's not
Woody
gonna
Johnson won't pay it. Woody Johnson won't
That's
pay
the
that.
problem. That's the problem. But listen, he's the one coach that you need to turn this organization around.
I'd even do Harbaugh, dude.
Yeah, me too.
I do Jim Harbaugh too. I wouldn't care.
We wanted
I wouldn't
Harbaugh
care.
2 years ago. We wanted him 4 years ago.
Yep.
I mean,
And Woody Johnson won't do it. But other than that, it's like I'm not firing Sala to bring another first-time head coach to take a chance.
Nope.
You need proven commodities. You need 2 proven commodities. One a head coach, one a quarterback. That's what you need right now to change this around.
Yeah, what's going on in Buffalo, man?
somebody was getting stretchered off.
Hurt.
Yeah,
someone's hurt.
and see who was down.
That's terrible. Who was it? Who's the player?
I don't even know. I just see everybody like on the field like praying and shit.
Yeah, everybody's.
So.
It must be really bad. It's been a while, man.
It's been like 5 minutes they haven't run a play. Probably longer than that.
But the thing is now, it's like that's where everybody wants people fired. Like, I think if Sean Payton did come here, Joe Douglas would be gone because Sean Payton's going to want full control.
You want full
Probably,
You want full control.
And Harbaugh could too, to be honest with you. Harbaugh could say, you know what, I want a lot more power too. I want say on personnel. So it's kind of twofold prime time where it's like, all right, is Woody Johnson willing to pay them? And is Joe Douglas willing to concede some personnel power as well, which he probably won't want to?
I think Tyrone's dead on with that. If you got a chance to get Payton or Harbaugh, like they're coming in and you're completely cleaning house and they're doing things their way. And I'm completely fine with that if you can make that happen. But again, like, do you make that phone call and then it doesn't work out? And then what's the feeling like in the building with Douglas and Sala?
What's the ramification?
Exactly.
Yeah, after that, it's a whole different kind of problem. Listen,
if
you make that phone call better work. So whatever number he says he wants,
because you know it's going to leak. You know it's going to leak. They're going to use the Jets to up their contract somewhere else if they don't sign here. So
apparently Hamlin collapsed on the field and doing CPR.
Oh shit!
Hamlin?
Damn.
That's crazy.
That's fucking sad, man.
Oh my god, man.
Yeah, so we haven't seen that. So, and listen, this is the other thing too. I see Sean Payton. I think the Cowboys' job has always been his dream job, but the Cowboys are, they're on their. They're on the way here.
Hey, Jerry Jones is not hiring nobody like Sean Payton that's gonna tell him, like, look, man, I don't care what you say, sit your ass down, let me do my.
He hired Jimmy Johnson, dude.
Yeah.
You don't give a fuck.
You'd hire Sean Payton.
Yeah, and he fired Jimmy Johnson too.
The only way that happens though is if McCarthy loses like first round this year.
Yeah, but I mean, I think Sean Payton's gonna. I don't think Woody Johnson was, is willing to do any of that. He's gonna be like, you know what, this is on Joe Douglas. Make a decision, and will Joe Douglas hold Sala accountable? I don't know if they're gonna do that or not.
I mean, Listen, the sad part is, man, like 5 weeks ago, we weren't even having this conversation. We weren't even thinking like this.
Nope.
You see how fast this changed, and this is the thing that gets me, man. Like, and I'm not making the statement same old Jets because it ain't the same old Jets.
No, it is.
But this feeling is the same. No, this is the same old feeling because you know what I'm saying. We got more talent than we ever had on this team in a really long time.
You know what the real sad part is? Like looking back 5 weeks ago, the genuine feeling that I had was that this was the team finally getting over that rebuild hump that we've been in for like 10 years. And the thought was always, as we were accepting all this losing, that once you finally got over that hump, you were going to be back year after year. You'd have your head coach in place. You'd have your quarterback in place. You'd have an established core that would be back year after year, and you'd be competing for championships. And like as soon as we got over that hump, as soon as we beat Buffalo, it's been downhill ever since. And now you question everything.
Yeah.
Every facet of this team, every facet of this organization, you question right now.
Same old Jets kind of end to the season, and then you look at that they raise ticket prices too during the winning streak.
Yep,
which is embarrassing.
Yeah. It's
amazing.
It's crazy. It sucks because we're really thinking that we're going to move forward and things are changing and we're getting back to something different, and it was back to the same results, man. I mean, we lost 5 games in a row, and then we lost 2 games that we had to make the playoffs. That's all we wanted, bro. You make the playoffs.
It came out flat to boot, dude.
Flat.
That's the more concerning thing about all this. So I guess the last thing is whoever's going to Miami, let me know because I'm going to tailgate and party.
Enjoy yourself, man.
Enjoy, Tyson. You deserve it, bro. Enjoy yourself.
I'm going to just have a great time, man. Now it's like no stress. Tickets are cheap as shit. Just have a good time, and that's it. So tomorrow night we will have callers on. I think that should be nice and calm, right?
Absolutely.
Tomorrow's going to be on a different level.
It's going to be a different level of pain tomorrow, buddy. I'm telling you.
Tomorrow, so we'll do all the viewers come on tomorrow night, and we'll see what all your thoughts are. And I guess prayers with Hamlin, man. I go check out who's on here. It's
bro, man. Yo, it ain't looking good, bro. They're still doing CPR on.
I got to call you out, Tyson, for something.
Go for it.
What happened to your birthday? It's not on Facebook. It's not on Twitter. I always knew you were like somewhere in the 20s on December.
You know what happened? You know what?
I'll answer that.
It never popped up.
It never popped up on my phone either, though.
Yeah,
bro.
What happens is when you have
now
people
I feel like shit.
What happens when people stalk you on social media and creep you out and do a lot of weird things? You got to make changes so they don't know what about your family, your job, and everything else. So That's the one bad part about doing this kind of channel is you have stalkers and you have weirdos and just
I just wanted to
legitimate
make sure the
idiots.
chat could wish you a happy belated birthday.
Yeah,
No, I appreciate that. That's
man.
why I had
Love you,
to
bro.
scrub a lot of shit off my fucking
Yo, I
shit
wonder
because
why
I have fucking stalkers now.
and it didn't pop up on my. It didn't normally pops up on my thing. It didn't pop up. I didn't even think about it, bro.
Appreciate
Damn.
it.
Every day, like late December, I'm like, wait, one of these days is Tyson's birthday. And I'm like,
Yep.
it
I had
never
to
popped
fucking
up.
change shit up, dude. Thanks to fucking the world that we live in. So good times. But thank you. I appreciate that.
Yo, man.
So we will talk to all you guys tomorrow night, and hopefully this player is okay. So see you guys later.
Man, praying for Hampton, bro. Real
prayers,
talk,
man.
bro. Oh my God, this is crazy.